know the music.
The BLERD official podcast. We are here. We are so excited to see all of you. It has been a whole week, but we missed you. And how are my co-hosts? Hilton George, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. People in podcast land might not know this, but we record on a certain day, but we recording on a different day, trying to see if we can mix it up and make things funky. You know, we like, okay, we're gonna remix it because you're gonna think it's gonna be this day because it'll be that day, right?
Oh my God. I threw the whole schedule off because
that's right, you know, but it's keep everybody on our toes, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta time my stuff around the garbage man, my grocery delivery, but now I got like a whole different vibe going.
We got like
real cool
high class living over there. You don't buy your own groceries. You get your groceries delivered every week. Oh,
I get my own groceries.
That's Big Bang Hank over there. Big Bang.
Bring them to the door. I'm not interested.
Yeah. You know what? I've tried those grocery deliveries and they always never find the exact, like they always find, it's like too many substitutions. So it pissed me off and I'm like, I'll just go get it myself. Because obviously y'all don't know what this is. Like, come on now.
Yeah, they be finding a whole lot of store brand stuff and they'll be
like, I didn't pick that.
Y'all so bougie.
I know we are bougie. Christi Renee, how are you today?
Girl, y'all know I'm trying to keep my head above water, so I don't want to hear no smack from nobody.
Oh, no, it's always going to be some smack. It's always going to
be some smack, but I'm ready for it. You know, I got thick skin, but I'm here, and it is lovely. We had a lot of rain recently, so you know I'm still adjusting to the air. It's an environmental thing in this New York space.
It's a lot of pollution you didn't expect.
Yeah, like I need to be in a bubble. I need to be in a bubble.
So it's not just air pollution, it's noise pollution. It's loud in New York.
I actually enjoy that
all the time.
You could be like on the 20th floor of a hotel and still hear the garbage truck. Like, and I'm like, what the heck? Like you can hear the homeless guy yelling at the other homeless guy, and I'm like, how many people? We gotta go to heaven? Do we gotta go to heaven to not hear this?
Somebody was having a fight the other day, and I'm so nosy. It's like, oh, what? So we go a little closer to the edge. Like,
no, you stay inside. You don't go out when people are fighting. I
was on the roof. I was on the roof, and they were down below, and I was like, "Ooh, they are going through it, honey. It is a lot."
So we gotta send Christi some binoculars. She can spy from a distance.
Like, what's that thing?
What they doing? What they doing over there?
She could be in the safe zone, and you don't have
exactly.
I want the ones that like flick, you know, like opera, you know, and just sit on your nose.
Look who's bougie now. See who's bougie now.
You know. You gotta pick your space.
We're trying to send you the Amazon telescope, and you're over here trying to get the little. I don't even know what they're called.
I know, right? What
are those? Bird watch.
We'll
get you the bird watch.
Right. Yeah. See, we're gonna get you the $9.99, the $9.99 joints.
That's fine.
Some of the ones that I wear when I go to like Jay-Z concerts with them $75 tickets, and you be like way in the back up, in the rafters, looking at
it's like
you can't see the championship jerseys be in front of you. You can't see the stage because they all hanging out.
You know, let's talk about these concerts here recently. Like we just lived through like weeks and weeks of everybody was going to Beyonce, and it just made me go, how much money do all these people that I know have? Because those tickets were expensive.
They started saving. If you're a real OG, like you've been saving. I was like, in my mind, I was gonna win some tickets, but yeah, they it's a grip. They dropping a grip,
but
and
it's
the
really
costumes,
like $3,000 if you wanted even a decent seat, and that's one ticket, not even you and your man. You know, it's not even like it's like. But
it's
even so, like, I knew a lot of people who went to like, and they've had like GoFundMes, they've had like different things. And I'm like, how the hell are you at Beyonce of all the concerts?
Feed a hungry child.
Yeah. And they were the hungry child. And it's like,
I'll be hungry at Beyonce.
Yeah. Right. I know. Because I think about what they were like. I mean, that doesn't even include parking. That doesn't include if you want to get a t-shirt, if you want to get a beer, a drink, a concession, like, you know. Yeah. But I mean, it's just for me personally. I mean, I could go to a Beyonce concert, but I just can't imagine spending that kind of money.
I couldn't do that. We going as special guests.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. But before we got on, we were talking about concerts back in the day where it was like you'd spend, $20. And you would be there all day and you'd see like 18 acts. And it was like, it was life. It was life. And
it was like a community talent show. You just like, oh, we got some more people. Okay. Like whoever was in town, whoever came through, it got you set.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, Karen frozen. She pop locking.
I know.
Right? We talking about Beyonce. Karen on mute.
You talk about Beyonce and problems happen. You talk about, am I moving now or am I frozen?
You're good.
Yeah. Am I good? Because I'm like, you talk about Beyonce.
The
Beehive done attacked.
You did. You did the mute. It was the mute challenge. You did it. You did it.
Exactly. The Beehive just swarmed me. I'm sorry, guys. The Beehive just swarmed me. I will never say anything bad about Beyonce. I wasn't talking about Beyonce.
Some blessings be on
tickets. I was talking about the cost of her tickets. I wasn't talking about her. Like, I where's my white flag? I give up.
Oh my God.
Speaking of white flags, speaking of giving up, speaking of just Hilton threw in the chat this week a new show for us to watch. And let me tell you, I have watched this thing. I watched it twice, Hilton. I was with you. I watched it twice. Yeah. The assignment this week was One Piece. We got to meet the cast of One Piece, the new series that's on Netflix. My gosh. Okay, let me just first start this. Let me just say this. I am not an anime person. I mean, not even that I'm not an anime person. I just don't know anime, and like especially like One Piece and series like this that have over 1,000 episodes and have been around for God knows how long. I've never even thought about watching it because it was just too much to catch up on. Ooh. And I just don't know. Like I know people who are voice actors on these properties. I know all kinds of stuff. I've tried watching anime and it just wasn't something like, you guys know, I love dramas. I love watching Marvel movies. I'm a live action girl. So I was kind of hesitant when Hilton said, but I had been hearing like literally the streets were talking, like everybody I know was talking about One Piece. And usually when they kind of do a show like this, there's a lot of hate because they don't like it when you redo it or when you do the live action. They don't like it, but everybody was loving it. So I was like, okay, let's give it a go. But the one person who was loving it the most was Hilton George.
Yes.
Hilton George was losing his shit over One Piece, like losing it, like on social media, in private chats. He was just losing it. And so I was like, okay, anytime Hilton loses it, we got to watch it. We did this with Last of Us and we all loved it. So I was like, okay, we're going to dive deep. We're going to go into One Piece. Hilton, okay, I know your reaction, but tell the people what your reaction was when you saw this series.
Okay, so first of all, I gotta piggyback off of you, Karen. I am not a One Piece anime fan, right? There's 1,100 episodes, 30 minutes a piece. The show's been running for 25 years. The manga ran even longer. It is the longest running series, the most top selling manga in the world. It is outsold. It just outsold J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter.
What?
Yes. This is the thing. This is the thing. What people don't know. This is how successful this story is.
Before the series ever showed up, on live action, it was a very successful manga that became a very long running and successful anime. And it is because of that 1,100 episodes. A lot of people look at that as a Mount Everest to watch. Nobody's got that kind of time after you're 25. People have taken it on like a challenge. They fall in love with the characters. They've all said it's a really, really good series. But it's like when people say things like, oh, man, the story really opens up at episode 65. You're like, what? I mean, 650. You're like, 650. I got to go 650 episodes for some of these arcs and storylines and all this. So I never really got that much into the anime. I probably watched like 4 or 5 episodes because it came on Netflix, which it still is. So there's a bit of genius marketing happening here that Netflix has kind of stepped into. And I think they learned their lesson from Cowboy Bebop.
Right.
which is their last anime to live action that people got really excited about and then really let down about.
Yeah.
Because they kept faithful to the source material. They had the writer whose nickname is Oda, who has his face always obscured and that kind of stuff. He's like Daft Punk in that way. But he was on set. He was doing rewrites. They were doing reshoots because he had the rights to the entirety of the series and the title and everything. So he went in and was like, "Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this." And they did all these reshoots, and it worked. So first, let me say, the casting is where everything works. First and foremost. If you only watch 3 episodes of One Piece just to see who the characters are and the first 4 or 5 people that are introduced, and then you watch the anime, watch the live action, you're like, okay, this is perfect casting, perfect script, perfect direction. And that is where everything starts. Second, they take 8 episodes of a 1 hour per episode show in live action, and it runs the arc of 45 episodes of the first arc of the anime. Yeah. And it does it really, really, really well.
Yeah.
It moves and you catch the emotion. It is really, really well done. And not for nothing, but it is a very, very diverse cast. I don't know of anyone that's not represented in this cast. Even the one of the main supporting actors, the little scared guy with the glasses, is a trans male actor. Themselves. So I mean,
I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Even I didn't know. These are all really new faces. There's not that many.
I love that.
Repeat actors in here. So this is a lot of introduction happening. But it's really, really well written. It's really easy to digest for people who don't know anything about the property. Right. And the lead actor, who I know you got in front of you on your phone right now,
Inoki Godoy.
Right.
Inoki Godoy. I watched like 10 videos to make sure I said it correctly because he deserves it.
All the flowers. All the flowers. This is a casting decision because the character in the anime is not distinctly Latina.
Yeah.
And so here you are, you got this Latino actor with this really, really thick Latino accent.
Yes.
And brown skin.
Yeah.
And just, really, really putting himself into this role and making it his own. Without him, this does not work.
Yeah. Monkey D. Luffy is like the anchor. Like it's funny that the one of the scenes, the guy that he looks up to says, "We've already got an anchor," and he's wearing a shirt, and it's like, but he is literally the anchor character in this series. And what I loved is like I went and watched like one of the anime just to kind of see the energy and see, but it's like they literally this Inoki, he literally captures the spirit of Monkey D. Luffy, and it's just like a ray of sunshine, a ray of positivity, a ray of like this is the friend you want that believes in you even in your darkest hour. Like he's gonna believe in you when you can't believe in yourself. And it's just such a fun I was trying to talk someone into watching it, and they were like me going, "Oh, I don't watch anime, and I don't want to do this," and it was like
me? No.
Yeah, I think it was you. No,
it wasn't me.
It actually wasn't you, but it was someone who is like us, who was just like sometimes I find myself, my first answer is no, and then like 10 minutes later I'm like, okay, but it's like you go, why do you say no? Just like watch one episode and see how you feel. But I literally had to talk this person into it, and I said, it's everything you love. It's everything you love about the Goonies. It's everything you love about Stranger Things. It's everything you love about action adventure, young cast, going against the odds, doing things that they don't even know that they can do.
Pirates of the Caribbean is what came to mind for me.
Yeah, exactly. But it's everything you love. Yeah,
just a world building that I don't even think the anime did as good a job as the live action.
Yeah,
you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, and so it was everything I love. So Christi, speaking of someone like you're like me, we're not into it. Like this isn't a show. We Christi's favorite show is Handmaid's Tale. So it's like that's what she's drawn to.
She's not made of rubber.
She's drawn to horror. So what did it do for you? I mean, what did it do for you watching a series like this? Because we did kind of have to go, Christi, you got to watch it. It's come on, you got to do it.
Y'all did some good arm twisting. Here's the thing. No, I did not finish it all the way, but I am invested now in the characters because now let me just say this. No, I am not a fan of anime, and I had to go. I'm so basic, hot child. I had to look up what manga was. So, which I understand is Japanese anime. So once I started to just really do the research, but again, I've always said this on this platform. My kids love anime. That's how I know what anime is. So I'm familiar with Naruto, and then it goes as far as Naruto for me. But what I do love is you just said everything I was thinking of earlier. Y'all still in my fire. Cause I was like, there's so many shows that I do love, like Stranger Things or, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like I love a good pirate story. I mean, love, love, love. Been a fan of those for the longest. Hook. It reminded me of Hook. They're like the Lost Boys at times. And so I can relate to those things. This is visually, I love a good visual. Yeah. So when it is aesthetically pleasing to me, the costuming in here is phenomenal. I'm sure we'll see plenty of, stuff at the upcoming cons that look just like.
Oh, I can't wait.
That are representing the show. And so I think it's just a really fun. It's adventurous. I mean, hell, in the first episode, when the master swordsman, the
Zorro.
Yes, thank you with the names. When he's really good. But when he sliced that man in half, I was like, oh Lord, they showing the body parts. Because I'm thinking this is like, family. This ain't, no, it's, you got to have a strong stomach to see some of the things. But again, it's exotic. It's, they have, good conversation. You're right. The lead character, Luffy, is one of those characters that, again, and because they keep showing the flashbacks to his childhood and telling that story.
That was the beautiful part of this show.
Yes.
Yeah, those flashbacks.
And it makes you just be so much more connected to, okay, where is this going? So while I have excitement, and I've said this once, I'll say it 1,000 more times. We can talk about it. I still got to see it. So for me, it only registers once I actually see the thing. So I'm watching it. I'm invested. So there's that. I like it.
One thing I think want to push is that you do not have to be an anime fan to watch this show.
It's a story.
Like you do not, or you don't even need to know anything about One Piece. I knew zero.
It's a brand new story.
I kind of did some research just because we were going to be talking about it, and I wanted to have a deeper depth of, information. But you don't even need to know one thing. The beautiful story, like you just mentioned, one of the beautiful aspects of the storytelling is that they give you backstory on our 5 heroes. Like they give you backstory on this that involves the 5 heroes plus the supporting cast. Yeah. But it gives you such depth as to, okay, why is this person like this? Like, why are they doing this? Because when you first meet Luffy, you're like, okay, well, he wants to be king of the pirates. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, and he's a little scrawny kid that it just does not even fit the bill going up against some of these monster, pirates that he's going to have to go up against. But you believe him. And then once you get his backstory, you believe him. And you're like, if we're betting on anybody, we're betting on Luffy. Yeah. And it's so cool. Like I will say I want to mention a lot of these actors because, like you said, they're new. Emily Rudd plays Nami. Oh God, I said his name 10 times too, but now it's like hard for me to say it. McKinyu plays Zoro. Taz Skylar plays Sanji, and then Jacob Gibson plays Usopp. And I mean, I love like how, like you said, in every episode it's taken us through this 45 episode arc. But each episode we see how Luffy built his team, how we built the Straw Hat Pirates. And it's just so good.
They did a really good job. I think it was masterful. There's no other way to put it. Masterful how they mixed in the backstory, because you'll be watching and then all of a sudden it's 17 years earlier. Right. And you're just transported back. And there's a lot of actors in here that are playing that you don't know have certain connections. And I had to look some of them up. Exactly. So you've got one episode where the young man from what is it called? Sweet Tooth is playing the kid stuck on the island.
Yes.
And you're just you're like, I know that kid, and that kid is playing that role to the T.
Oh wow.
And you're just like,
Yes.
oh, and the captain has been in so many movies. He's been in Troy. He's been in
Yes.
Clash of the Titans. So
Okay.
he's an established actor. And you're just
Vincent
watching
Reagan.
this. Yes.
Yes.
Zorro is played by the son of Sonny Chiba, who you may remember
What?
from Kill Bill as the sword maker.
What?
Yes.
Natori, yeah. So
Yeah.
Hanzo,
Wow.
and you there's all these connections that just kind of like make
Oh,
sense
wow.
when you watch the show.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily mean anything directly, but it's just like, okay. But yeah, the idea that by the time you get to the closing episode,
Yeah.
episode 8, you know every character in the story's motivation. You know why they're
Yeah.
there. There's even a symbolic, no spoilers. I don't think we're far enough ahead of it to spoil. But the last scene of the last episode actually sums all that up.
Yeah.
Where everyone's talking about what they want to do, who they are, what they want to be, and you believe it.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do in
Yeah.
any storytelling arc, but to do it with this many characters in a fantasy setting with
Mhm.
seamless special effects. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
understand there are no boats in this real boats.
Right.
It's all mixtures of CGI and models,
Yeah.
and green screens, and it looks like, wait a minute,
They're at
like,
sea.
they are at sea.
They
Like,
do a great job.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like that's a real sea monster, like the sense of scale.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous world where people are kind of like, they have these aspects of all these different animals for no reason at all. So it's like this, it's not connected to any world we recognize. And that doesn't stop the storytelling at all.
Yeah.
Even the fishmen, you're like, oh, fishmen. Okay, I'll take a leap. Let's just keep going. Like, all right.
And they become the villains that you're just like, come on, Luffy.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Oh,
And
man.
I got to tell you, the just like you said, Karen, you watching the message boards, and I've watched message boards every time an anime or manga goes to live action, from Alita Battle Angel to Dragon Ball Z, you name it. And boy, look, this Bob Plus, because they shit on everything. Anime fans hate live action. It's like a reflex.
They hate it. They do not want it to come to life. They're like
toddlers and broccoli. There's no redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
And even they are in these shots, they'll throw a little something out there just to, show them, okay, I'm not in love with it, because
they gotta pick something.
They gotta pick something apart. They like that auntie in church that don't really, they got to do one thing negative, even if it's your birthday or something. But other than that, I mean, even them, it's just to see them all quiet and just accepting the love and accepting, But I want to go back to what's happening with Netflix, because we shit on Netflix because they do not do things really well when it comes to promo and letting people know what's coming.
I knew only about this because of the word of mouth, but
word of mouth definitely on the front end of this. However, what they did do like 6 months ago is they dumped all the One Piece anime content onto Netflix. So you got all the series, all 1,100 episodes. You got 2 movies, all of this, and it has been there. So anyone who was like, oh, One Piece, we didn't even think about it in the context of, they're teeing certain people up to watch the live action. Well, see, what has happened here that's so unique is that the live action was so good and so well received that people are now going back and screening the anime content and even purchasing the manga content who have never been introduced to it before, because they want to get to know these characters better and get the sense of this world. And so it's this cross-pollination that has never happened. There have been well-received and even successful live action. Like I said, Alita Battle Angel was a very well-received, very good movie that came directly from a manga. Nobody left the theaters and said, I got to go get the manga of this, right? Even because most people didn't even know. But this, people are like, okay, I see now that I've watched One Piece live action, and Netflix is like, well, here's One Piece the movie, here's One Piece, the series, and it's all
Very
there.
smart.
It's dubbed, so you can watch it without reading, and it's just a gateway drug.
It's like they back into it, they kind of back like this and go, okay, now let's do. I mean, it's seeds. Yeah, yes. It's a weird formula, but I guess it works.
Well,
it's never been done before.
Yeah, they're kind of changing the game of how, because remember, quite a few years ago, where all of a sudden, Beyonce just one day dumped her album just dumped it, and it was just like, it's here. Go, and people went crazy, and it just showed that you can do something in a different way. If you just give it to the people, make it available, it can work. But okay, so I know, like, we talked about the cast, we've talked about how excellent they are, and I mean, I'm telling you, from Luffy to down to just the guy that comes on for 1 second, it is just that good. Like, every single person is cast to perfection. These actors are bringing it, especially if you're like, even if you're not into like live action, or you're not into an adventure story, or you're not into, like, you know, pirates and fishmen and blah blah blah. I mean, there's actually some really good acting happening on this show.
I mean, really, there's
One
going
of
to be
my
Emmys
favorite
flying around.
characters is an antagonist who is Muggy.
Yeah,
the damn
Buggy.
clown.
Buggy.
I
Buggy,
love
yes.
him.
Played by
He's
Jeff Ward.
hysterical. He reminds me of
Hysterical.
it. Yeah, it kind of puts me in the mind of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. So he's got this dark side, obviously, and that whole situation in the circus.
He was on what was that?
He's
show?
He's
He
on
Agents
another
of Shield.
show.
He was on Agents of Shield, and he was a little
good.
wacky there. But once I saw him coming through the makeup, and if you do get a chance to, and I'm talking to the BOP community, if you do get a chance to watch any of the anime, even if it's just like the first 8 episodes after you watch the live action, you will see how well they carried over the key elements of these characters in these arcs, and they made them scary, and it was dark. And I mean, listen, I cried real tears at 7 out of 8 episodes. I mean, I was like, whoa.
When you get that Nami story, because like, okay, there's a moment, we won't spoil it too bad, because you're right, this hasn't come out and hasn't been out that long. But there is a moment in the story where things just turn and you question everything about Nami, right? And the only person who believes in her, or at least says, well, if she's turned, then I need to hear it from her, is Luffy, right? And so everybody's like, well, why are we doing this? But when you get her backstory and you realize what she is doing and what her motivation is and why she has been the girl, like, all the way up until this point, that rolls her eyes every time Luffy says, you're in my crew. And she's like, I'm not in your crew. And when she, like, even the first episode I rewatched, and he said, I'm a pirate. And she's like, I hate pirates. I hate everything about pirates. You realize, like, the anger and why she was this mad redhead girl running around, you know, the ocean. And you realize why she's a thief. You realize so many things, and how much deeper it is. Like,
how dark it is for an anime. You're like, wow.
Yes.
Like,
will cry,
they're not
Chris.
pulling punches with this show, even up to this point.
Yeah.
You know, there's real death. There's real consequences to your choices. There's real unfair circumstances happening to good people for no reason at all. You're like, why did this person die? Why did this person lose his arm? Why did this person? Why
did this man have one leg? Like, it's like,
don't even get me started. Christi, did you get to that? Did you get that far?
Did you get to that point? See, this is the thing.
I'm telling you that you're like,
you're still watching the fluffy version of this.
Are almost like the Canterbury Tales. They're just so like profound, and these people you're thinking they're one way, like, oh, this person's evil, or oh, this person is really dark and sinister or something, and then you find out, like, oh, they're just rough, but they're good people, or they want the best, and they're going about it this weird way. And this is the thing that I describe Luffy's character as, and it just hits it right on the nose for me. Everybody doesn't agree. He is a lovable sociopath. So hear me out. Like, take away the lovable part. Why is he a sociopath?
I don't want to think of Luffy as a sociopath.
He is a sociopath. Right? Classic sociopath. He is not listening to anybody else at all. Like, you're a member of my crew. I kill pirates. He keeps saying that. Anyway, and he's keep moving. He is not registering other people's needs and wants. And, like, I know what you think you want. I know who you think think you are, but you're a member of my crew. Get on the boat.
Right.
Like, he's like that the whole show. Right. But he's lovable because he does have everyone else's best interest at heart. He does believe in people. He just sees people, and this is the definition of sociopath, is that people are like chess pieces on a board. Like, you're all here so that I will ultimately find the one piece and become king of the pirates. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad you're here. Everybody get on the boat. Like, but there's a lot of love there.
I will say this. He listens to them, but he only listens to their dream. Like there is a moment
not the pain.
There's a moment where he's like, he even asked Nami, he's like, there's got to be something more. Like, is there anything you've ever dreamt of? Like, he asked every single person of his crew, like, what have you dreamt of doing? What do you dream? What do you want? Like, what do you want? And like, if there was a Luffy in real life going around asking people, like, okay, I know you're doing this. Okay, I know you got success here, but what do you really want to do? And why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you working every day to do it and like setting yourself free and just running like,
and he lends himself to as the implement for that. He's like,
yeah,
okay, well, you can do that,
yeah,
as a member of my crew. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Get on the boat.
He kind of sets them all free. Like, he kind of sets them all free, and they've gotten the glimpse of like, well, dang, he believed in me. Why am I not believing in me? Like, why am I not doing this? And there's a moment. I don't want to, like, again, I don't want to spoil too much. It's still very new. I want you guys to have all of it the way I got it. But there's a moment someone in his crew gets hurt and he's questioned. They're like, why didn't you stop him? And he goes, because I'm stopping him from his dream. Oh. Like, that could mean he gets hurt. That could mean something bad happens. That could mean, but and he even says, like, the person says, why didn't you, and he goes, because I never thought he would get hurt. I never thought he'd lose. Like, he literally never thinks that.
He believes in himself.
He believes it. Yeah. And I think, but at the end of the series, they are all a member of the Straw Hat crew. 1000%. Like, there is where they were kind of like, I'll get on this boat with this dude because I ain't got nothing better to do.
It's just like the Avengers, it took a while for everybody to gel, and you do get that moment where everybody's on board. But just to put this in context for anyone who's like, our fandom stops at the border. In the Japanese world, the Straw Hat symbol is as iconic as Captain America's shield. Like I saw a guy with a shirt at a conference and it was part of his logo. That was the One Piece straw hat. Wow. And it was part of a larger logo, but then that was all it was there. And it was just like a dog whistle. Like, everybody was like, oh my God, I know what that is. And he's like, that's what it's for. It's a dog whistle. If you know what this is, you're somebody I'm supposed to be talking to, because I do stuff in the nerd space. And it's just that iconic. And you see the power of that story as the hat goes from person to person. You notice that when Shanks puts it on Luffy and he's crying, because he knows what it means, even as like a 5-year-old, like to be given this hat. And then there's a scene where he gives it to someone else, at least temporarily, as a symbol of this is how much I believe in you. Yeah, like, and it's just like, the power of those moments. So everything, when we say straw hats, we're going to throw that term around a lot in the States. But when you say straw hats, you're talking about like top tier branding overseas, like the manga, anime, Japanese world. Isn't
it crazy? Like, the level of success. Like, I didn't even know the level of success, like it outselling Harry Potter and this and that. But it is so linear. Like, it's so just like a certain group of people have been privy to this. And now that we've got this new series, now the world, Netflix has almost opened up this Pandora's box to, like, and I know
it's
Netflix
gonna be a mess.
They're feeling real good right now. Let me tell you this, I know they're feeling real good because Stranger Things is coming on their final season.
Oh, they done beat Stranger Things in the street.
And they were shaking in their boots the last 2 years because they're like, we don't want it to end. Like, what can we do? What can we do, Duffel Brothers, to get you guys to stick around and do another season? And now that the Stranger Things kids are 83 years old, and they're like, well, because they grew up
doing AARP commercials.
They're 20, like they went from being, because like I watched the first season again the other day just to because I just didn't have anything, and I love watching stuff over, and it's literally like they were 10, 12, 11, like a 10, 11, a 12-year-old and a 22-year-old. That is a completely different kid. That's a completely different person. Almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, Caleb McCall, he looks, he's a grown man at this point. Right. So I don't even know how they're going to pull
Well, see,
that
this is
off.
perfect
But
though, because
Well, you
remember,
know, costuming, they'll dumb them down. Like, I
yeah,
mean, even the last season, they were like 18 and they were
yeah,
playing 16-year-olds.
but this is perfect for Netflix. I think Netflix
Yeah.
has struck gold here for the exact reason you mentioned, Karen, is
Mm-hmm.
because one, this 8 episodes was 45 episodes in the anime.
Yeah.
Do the math.
jeez,
Mm-hmm.
How many series of these could you do? Now, here's the catch. In the
yep,
anime, Luffy grows. He actually gets more manly and muscular as a character. So you can
okay,
actually follow the lead actor,
Right.
you know, as he grows up
Oh,
and gets
he
older
can stick
because the character
around.
does it in these
Yeah.
arcs. You know, if you even see pictures, which all I've seen is pictures. I don't watch the anime that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
You see the pictures of like the later seasons, like he is jacked and his hair is long and he's got this whole other arc. So they can take these characters for, he doesn't stay, you know,
He
17.
doesn't stay a little boy. Yeah. He
No,
doesn't stay
not at
little
oh,
all.
so
Luffy.
they've got
So,
room for new people to
oh,
come in also.
oh, and they got the
Yeah.
storyline that already has it. There are so many characters. This 8 episodes, they could do 12 more times and introduce as many new characters each 8 episodes
Crazy.
as they did
That's
this,
crazy.
and still miss
Right.
people.
That
There's
just
Yeah.
gave
like
me a shiver.
there's dogs that have character arcs in the first 45 episodes that people were mad were not in the live action.
Yeah.
And when you watch the anime, you're like, I can see why you're mad. That dog was pretty cool.
The
You,
dog.
you said dogs? Like
There is
dogs?
a dog in the first 45 episodes. It's actually like episode 8 that rips your heart out. Like you're like,
God.
oh my God, why
Why
wasn't this
did they-
dog in the live? But you're
Right.
thinking, no, it's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
They had to peel some stuff back.
It'll
But
come.
I-
It'll come. Maybe it'll come later.
Exactly.
You know, maybe it'll come in
Wow.
season 2.
So
There's a lot of
much
stories
they
still
can
left to
mine
tell.
for this. So much.
So
they
if
can
there
mine.
was an opportunity for you guys to pick a favorite character, like I mean, yeah, like I mean, obviously Monkey D. Luffy, we all obviously love him.
Okay, so
but
nobody
is
can pick
there-
Luffy.
Nobody picks Luffy.
Okay, all right, because that's what I was going to pick.
Yes.
We can't do that.
Yeah, we can't pick Luffy because I mean, I think Luffy, like you said, he's the anchor of this show. He's at the heart of every single everything, which is done magically. Hilton, is there a favorite character? And Christy, while you're waiting, you can Google One
No.
Piece Netflix so that you can pull up.
I'm gonna pick one, and
I'm gonna go with what I've
I know
seen.
it's gonna be Christie's too. That's just because I know Christy, and she's gonna be mad at me because I'm taking hers, which happens all the time.
You can have the same
all
one.
the time.
Okay, we can. Okay, Nami is my favorite one, and it is because of everything that we've said about what just the depth of her arc.
Yes.
And I mean, let's just think about from the acting perspective. You know, having seen it, you watch. You know, again, I'm trying hard not to spoil it because it really hasn't been out long enough for that.
Yeah.
But the emotion that she puts forward as an actor in the scenes where she's okay, they're taking that which she was about to use to save her people, to save her storyline, and it's taken, and you watch her emote. I'm like, the acting that she has to do in that moment and sell it. You're like, oh my God. And then, you know, obviously, you know, the kind of acting that she has to do, she has to keep up with Luffy's character.
Yeah.
He's over the top. You know, he's,
Mhm.
you know, and she has to, like, you know, play the negative and still keep up with him and not get eaten alive in the screen, you know, because his acting. And she does that every time. You cannot take your eyes off her. She's the smartest character in the series.
Yeah.
And you know, even though you don't know all the reasons why she's doing what she's doing, you love her.
Yeah.
And you love watching her on the screen. She's never a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
She's, you know,
Yeah.
so that, from an acting
I've
perspective
seen that much.
and the
Yeah.
writing perspective, I it's got to be Nami.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah. Okay. So if yours is Nami, Christy, where are you standing on favorite character? If you're able to pick one.
Naturally, I agree with Hilton that
Yeah.
Nami is
Me
absolutely
too.
a favorite.
I'll pick a different one just because, but yeah.
Well,
I felt Nami was she spoke to me.
and I mentioned, you know, the clown because again,
Buggy.
I think
Yeah.
circus activity is horrifying, and I think that whole all the imagery around that is just it adds to the story of a character, and I think he plays to that really, really, really well.
Right.
And again, I have not gotten past a certain point, so I can't fully speak to. I do love seeing Nami on the screen, and really, I like all of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a different route though. Whoever created, like I said, from the costuming. This is some of my favorite things to watch. Hell, some of this even reminds me of like watching. Oh my God, the movie just escaped my brain with Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich and
The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
I mean, you got that snail thing, I mean, so the snail is my favorite character right now. That's in Captain Bogart or whatever his name is. Anyway,
his phone and his it's like all the snails is the way they communicated.
Yeah, I just, again, I'm still learning what their paths are. I just enjoy. You said we couldn't say Luffy. I really do enjoy him. I think it's funny now because I'm going to be looking at him a little differently since Hilton called him a sociopath. But I do get it. He smiles in the face of danger. He kind of puts everybody out in there. I don't know. He's kind of like an alchemist. He just he tests everyone's their essence.
And he almost Luffy, one thing you can say, he makes everyone rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Their occasion.
Regardless.
Like, whatever it is your path was, like even when he met Kobe, Kobe was his prisoner and he was like, he like forced him to stand up to that mean pirate lady and was like, no, what is your dream? You want to be a Marine? Okay, well, that's the one thing that's completely against the pirates. And he's like, well, if that's what you want to do, let go ahead, So I'm going to go a different route. Obviously, Nami, I loved. This is one character. Nami makes you want to yell at her. She makes you cry with her. She makes you root for her. And then in the end, you're just like, your heart breaks for her, and so it's one of those things. But I'll go Zoro. I love Zoro. Yeah. He was just so it's funny how the actor, he plays Zoro is almost a one note, he doesn't talk a lot higher than this. You never see him even yell. He's just, and even when they're in danger, he's but I will say his physical martial arts, his acting, his intensity,
get it from his day.
And he's almost and he's hilarious. That dryness is hilarious next to Luffy and next to Nami. It's so hilarious. He likes to sleep. He likes to drink all the time. It's all these little nuances about Zoro. But when you get his backstory, you really understand why he's almost this emotionally dead. You get why he is the way that he is because of the tragedy that he's faced. So it's just, I don't know. It was just so cool. This show is cool on so many levels that I didn't even plan or even anticipate. And to know that the key showrunners are a Black man and an Asian man.
We forgot to even mention that.
The
brother running the show. Which makes sense
awesome.
In retrospect when you watch some of the script and plot twists in there. You're like, whoa. All right. I see some storyline has been woven in here that I won't spoil. And just the respect that they're paying towards, like you said, he was a huge fan of the show. He's watched all 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and to be someone in that position, to be the commander of the ship. But he, the interviews I've watched of him, he's in such I love it so much. I must respect it. We have to respect the original story. Yeah, we're going to, this is an action adventure and we're casting, but it's everything that they decided still supports this original story. And I think that's why none of the anime fans were online shredding it. They can't, even when they complain about something, it's almost comical because you could just be like, oh, you just saying something, just say something. Because you're just used to being you're just used to being contrary. You're just used to being you're one of those people where it's oh yeah, the sky is blue. Is it really? Is it it's can we not argue about one thing? Come on.
We know the sun rises and sets each day. We know the sky is blue. Like, let's not argue about the shit that's been already. Like, we know.
Basic.
This is fact. This is fact.
This series, Karen, and I posted about this. You probably saw it. I gave it probably the highest praise that I didn't think about it at the time when I said it. I gave it the highest praise by saying that this is my new Scott Pilgrim. And if you know me and you know Scott Pilgrim is a movie that I could watch every day back to back. It is equally, it never becomes less entertaining, regardless of how often I see it. It is always the same high. It's always the same serotonin. It's just the characters, the story, every moment of it is just right there for you. Mm-hmm. And it annoys the shit out of everybody who I'm around. And, I'm like, oh, it's on. Sit down. Everybody shush.
Shush. Movie time.
Phones down.
Movie time.
Whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like this is going to end up being that occupying that same space for me, because it's so rich and there's so much. Again, I watched it, binged it, and then I went and I was watching it with family, and I was sitting there like, I just watched this because I was a whole weekend, and I was like, I just watched this whole series again, and it was even more because it was stuff I missed. It was even more interesting and even more entertaining, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen. And all the performances and all the storylines and all the plots, everything was just as entertaining. And I said, oh my God. I said, this is going to be that series that I'm just going to be watching and just keep binging and it's just going to stick. And then of course it's just going to be a gift that keeps giving, because season 2 is already written. And as soon as the strike is over, they're going to start shooting. Yeah. So like next year, this time, there'll be another one.
Just think about it.
We're right up where the last one left off.
Yeah. We're going to get more One Piece. We're going to get Wednesday season 2. Woo! And we're going to get the final season of Stranger Things. Like, Netflix is kind of coming with it. Like, they got some bullets in the chamber.
Call us, Netflix.
Shout out to Hulu, because I know Handmaid's Tale is coming too.
Yes.
That's my
shit. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
And shout out to all the actors and writers who are on strike. Yes. I'm one of them. Like, shout out to them, because the reality is they're fighting for things that could change the life. I mean, all these series are highly successful, but it hasn't trickled down to even the actors and creators. And it's like, how is that not possible? How are the actors and creators fighting for their place in this business when, like, we're talking about a show like this and all we've been talking about are the actors who have brought these characters to life spot on, and the writing that was done so magically. Like, they've converted me into, I can say I actually am a fan of One Piece. I am not an anime fan.
Right.
Like, I'm watching an anime live action show. How is it? Like, that is a miracle. That is a miracle within it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and you think about, like, how has the wealth and the success and just the bare bone basics of a living not trickle down to actors and writers. So
how you a writer on a hit series show and you're not sure where your rent's coming from next month? Like, that,
you don't have health insurance.
That's ridiculous.
And you don't have health insurance. Somebody broke it down in a way that really should make sense for anyone if you're ever wondering what is being fought for.
Yeah.
The top executives of all of the studios for which SAG-AFTRA is striking against, those top executives could forego 2%.
2%. I posted this on my page.
Of their gross pay, and it would resolve everything that they're asking for. Think about what 2% is. That is 2 cents on the dollar. 2 cents on the dollar. And the answer is no. Mm-hmm. Of all of these movies, think about every Marvel movie you've watched in the last 20 years. Think about all of these series on Netflix and Hulu, and these actors and stunt performers, the people who aren't making $1 million, the key grip, like these people who are putting the CGI together so that it looks flawless. So you have people who really are flying, and boats that really are sailing, and monsters that really are fighting. Like, all of that is happening because of people whose names you might not know, but are struggling because greedy execs don't want to give up a little bit off the top to make everything okay.
And this isn't just Hollywood. Like, it's like UPS.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Starbucks. It's like Amazon workers. It's Walmart worker. I mean, it's Google. Literally Google. It's like all of these companies. And one of the guys that I follow, I love him. Robert Reich. He's a, and
Robert
people.
Reich.
Yeah, Robert Reich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He posted today.
He's good.
He posted today. He goes, when workers demand fair pay, there's an uproar. But nobody bats an eye when a CEO pays for skyrockets.
Yep.
Funny how that works, huh? And then he even goes even deeper, like where, you think of like GM, they're making 29 million. The CEO of GM makes 29 million a year. Ford, 21 million. I mean, it's like, and then these companies, how is it that, the workers are not, does a CEO really need $29 million a year? Like when you think about the workforce, like people are making life and death choices at the gas pump, at the grocery store, where they're like, okay, if I buy this, then we don't have no money for the rest of the month. Like it's not even like everyone's a couple of tragedies away from catastrophe, even people doing well. So it just really makes you wonder. So and so I know we celebrate these shows, but I really, really, really hope that if you're in love with a show like this, think about they're on a network that is at the heart of the problem. They've kind of erased residual income because on these streamers, they're like, oh, we don't know how to keep a track of it. We don't know. But they know how successful it is. They know how much they can give these CEOs for new planes, boats, trips, automobile. Like, it's like, come on. So,
100% right.
As soon as the strike is over and the actors and writers get what they want, I'm putting that out there, get what they need, get what they want, then we're going to get some really cool shows. And I can't wait. I can't wait.
So much talent. It is. Greed is something else, ain't it?
Yeah. Ooh, it's the devil. It's evil.
It's evil. Literally evil.
It's evil. It's evil, man. Yeah. So next time you want to troll and get mad because somebody posted about the strike, think about what you're talking about. You're literally supporting the 1%.
You're supporting the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming into an election year next year, 2024. Mm-hmm. And I posted about this too. I think that, especially people in the Rust Belt, people in the Midwest, come from, these manufacturing hubs, et cetera.
Where they're barely clinging on to life.
Clinging on to life, suffering from opioid addiction, crises, all kinds of things happening, in these rural areas, who are caught between voting, for advocacy for unions, which is what they need in order to get what they want and what they deserve for the work that they do, and make these CEOs and corporations make decisions that benefit regular people. Mm-hmm. But then there's also guns, gods, and gays. And you are out here voting, your Jesus, and I understand it, and I respect that to a degree. But at the same time, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to think about what are the policies. Forget about personalities, because I know everybody's like, oh, politicians are the same, blah, blah, blah. Look at the actual policies that the elected or soon to be or vying to be elected leaders are advocating for. And what does that mean for you and what you have to do at your house? And think about voting for your own interests. And that means people will be in office who can advocate for you, so they're not busting unions. Because there's a lot of people out here who are striking, but won't strike up a union at their workplace. It's a conflict that has been set up by the top tier. So it's like, hey, we're going to pit poor people against each other, so that when anytime we come together, you start talking about unions, we're going to throw in some words that scare you, like communism and socialism and all this, and make you pull back. And then when you work 50 hours a week and still on food stamps, you're going to look and turn and blame a Mexican, or you're going to blame some poor brown person for your plight. And you're not going to look at us because we're putting rockets into space and we're putting submersibles under the water, spending billions of dollars because we've got it. And, that's what you've got to do. You got to think, because I'm telling you, your best interests are not always what's put forward by political parties and politicians.
They are distracting
policy,
you with
not personality.
What's the three you just said? They're distracting you with guns, God, and
gays. Because they're coming for your kids. The drag queens are going to read books to your kids and twerk on a pole in the library unless you vote for me, and I'm going to turn around and do all this stuff that's
it's so much
pro corporation and bad for unions. And you're like, it's a cycle. Educate yourself, step back from the rhetoric. These people have policy positions on websites that you can look at, find out what works for you, and vote based on that. Vote for somebody old, vote for somebody ugly, vote for somebody with bad breath. As long as they pull the lever in the direction that helps you every day, from the dog catcher to the president, all the way up. A little bit of homework.
It just always blows my mind how, religion has been used, like the way it's being used as a weapon. Oh my gosh. But that's a whole nother show. Like, I just want to
say, that show coming.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
Because when we get in election season,
we're itching.
Yeah.
Ooh, we've been itching. We're gonna make y'all we're gonna make some of our nerds so mad because they're like, wait, I tuned in for the BOP, the BLERD, what is happening?
Hey,
we're gonna see Christi's gun collection. We're gonna be out here ready. Like, we gonna do this. Where we at? Where we meet?
I will be in my bonnet and my cloak, ready to show the world where I
will come out.
I stand. Yes.
our resident handmaid.
I think it's so important, though, as we get ready to close out, to say the reason why our conversations shift to this is because part of being a nerd, we are Black nerds, is you are in tune with so many things that are going on globally. There is an awareness about politics, about education, about so many things that, I think some people mistake, even for Karan Ashley, for your celebrity, they mistake that these are important things, that we are human beings living on this rock. And
far more important than the shows I like.
Exactly. And I think it's so, again, this is our TED Talk. Thanks for showing up. But we do care. I mean, these things matter, and they play into the bigger pictures as well as the smaller ones. And so while we talk about these shows and these movies and these happenings that we, everybody can participate in, if they so choose, there are other obligations that also, I think, take a higher position in the things that we care about. And they all are intertwined. I mean, from this show, you're going to see things that are kind of politically charged, even in a show like One Piece.
I mean, think about what they're fighting for. They're like, Luffy, they're fighting for the underdogs. Like, I mean, you think about like some of the undertones of this show are very political. Like, if you really get into it, the characters.
Look, we're gonna probably when we get to the episodes that we're talking about, Christi's probably gonna jump in the chat and be like, "Oh Lord," she gonna be like, "Oh, what they do that for?" Another show, I got to talk to the people.
Because I mean,
that kind of thing.
And the thing is you can't like fight for it in the fantasy world and then not fight for it in your real world. Like, you really got to think about the depth of some of the storytelling, and you really got to, like, we can all live in the fantasy forever, but come on, guys, there's like life or death situations happening. We need to all be informed and be smarter and do things that benefit just benefit the world positivly. Like, there's a lot of negative speech that's going on out there, and everybody's like, yeah, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's crazy. But you're right, the elections are coming up, and the elections are coming up. And we're gonna have some politically charged episodes that need to happen, because if nothing else, if we can at least open the door to the conversation, or we can at least crack the mind to thinking a different way and seeing something in a different perspective and seeing how it affects people like us, people that you've grown to love, and people that you like to watch every week, I think it's worth it. I think it's we're gonna go there. So.
And again, we're gonna dismiss those. Again, I get super offended when people think that, and again, I go back to this. I use you as an example, Karen. They think that you are just supposed to shut up and act, and I think that is the most disrespectful,
terrible,
egregious offense that you can enact. You can throw at project on somebody, and I just will not stand for it. And we have a platform for a reason. And if we got to do a whole other show and talk, we've done it before. because we've had these conversations before. This time last year,
and
when
you
we were
see
gearing
how
up,
people, when I post something, they'll troll, they'll quickly turn and be like,
I know
you, and do, and I go, well, you ain't gotta like me.
You ain't got to go back under your rock. Yes, thank you. So I'm glad we have these conversations. I'm glad we can shift those the fun stuff that we talk about, because again, reality is still happening right around us as we speak. So it's important. You know, we keep it real on the BOP shit.
Yeah, we do. Oh my gosh, guys, we're at the end of the show. Oh,
we burnt the hour up, didn't we?
I know we did. It was such a great conversation.
The New York Minute.
If you have not seen One Piece, this girl over here, she's in the New York Minute. If you guys have not seen One Piece, watch it. You do not have to be an anime fan. It's just a good movie. If you've liked Stranger Things, if you've liked Pirates of the Caribbean, if you've liked the Goonies, like, it just has all those elements of adventure, of you're just rooting for these you're rooting for this team, you're rooting for the Straw Hat Pirates. Watch it. Any last thoughts before we get off? Anybody?
No, I'm ready to pick up the next. We got some more Ahsoka. We talk about maybe down the road. Some amazing episodes. Episode 5 was dope. I want to talk about that one time.
Yes,
but that'll be BOP Plus.
Yes,
we're gonna get BOP Plus for all of those.
That'll be in a future episode.
Love it.
But Hilton, you're like 2 or 3 for 3 for 3, or I don't know how many you've thrown in the chat. But Last of Us, yay! One Piece, yay! So keep them coming.
Look, fried chicken and television series and movies is my gift.
That's it. And we love you for that.
Hilton's
that is all
Hilton's
you need.
Been cloned. With the fried chicken.
Yes. Oh yeah, they killed Tyrell. Yeah, that one was. It's like, we love you for that. So Christy, Christy's gonna throw some dark stuff at us soon. So
I am. Watch
we're
this.
Excited.
October is coming, so all the scary stuff. We got to go see really early in the morning. We got to go see The Nun 2 is freaking phenomenal. So I ain't had a chance to talk about that, but.
Well, I'm gonna let you, Dana, and Hilton do that. I'm gonna be off that week, and y'all can go see it. I ain't seeing nothing. I ain't seeing that. I ain't having nightmares for the rest of my life.
I'm looking forward to The Exorcist 2. The Exorcist is coming out. Oh my God, that's gonna
Dana
be so good.
will be guest hosting. I will find y'all a celebrity guest host to come in and sit in for me, so that y'all can. And I'll just be like here chilling. I don't even want to. I ain't gonna watch the episode. I'll be honest with you. I won't touch it because any part of it, I'll be like, I got a nightmare. Well, guys, we are out of here. We are the BOP, the BLERD Official Podcast. We love you.
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the BOP, the BLERD Official Podcast.